Critical success factors for your assignment success. Now, in your Chartered Institute of Marketing, or in other words, your CIM assessment success, you will find the introduction of critical success factors in each of your assignments. Now, knowing what are the components that's going to score the marks for you is going to be absolutely helpful to make your work productive. This is not only in assignments. You would have come across the term critical success factors for life, for business, and of course, right now we are going through a season of Olympics, and this is crucial for sport as well. If you look at certain businesses, if you take a fashion retailer today, your website and the digital experience is a critical success factor. If you look at the traditional business of fast food, and if you look at brands like McDonald's, we always used to say location used to be their critical success factor. And you would have easily seen how they've taken decisions on crossroad, highway-facing locations, so they can have visibility, accessibility, and easily operate their drive-in, drive-through, drive-by type of operations. So, welcome to the conversation of critical success factors, in this case for your assignment success. Because we are in the season of sport, Olympics and cricket, I'm going to take a sports analogy to ensure that you really understand this. This is an example from my sport, which is cycling. And I'm going to go back to a race that I did in 2016 called Rumble in the Jungle. This is one of the toughest mountain biking, in other words, off-road races in the inner terrains of Sri Lanka. It's an international race, 14 nationalities and 4 stages of racing. As you can see, this stage took me 5 hours and 20 minutes on the bike, 2,400 meters of climbing. It's a tough race. Now, when you're up against a challenge like this and you're up against some of the best in the world, you have to really understand your critical success factors. Starting from understand the terrain. If you know the terrain of Haputale, this goes through Haputale. If you heard of a terrain called Devil's Staircase, you know why that's called Devil's Staircase. All the way to Horton Plains and coming back downhill to Nuwara. They're tough. This actually goes through Horton Plains, means it goes through the highest motorable, accessible road in this country, and you know the weather in that type of terrain and that part of the country. So if you look at the critical success factors, you have to have the right bicycle for this. In this case, I actually borrowed this machine from a friend of mine. It was a great machine for this type of race. You have to get your protection because you are going uphill, downhill, over rocks, and you know those hills, if you make the wrong turn, you're falling all the way down. You have to have your backup, your tools with you because you're all by yourself in jungle. You have to get your hydration right because hours and hours you're sweating. You got to get your energy right. You have to bring a fair bit of training to this type of race. Your heart and lungs have to be well conditioned. And one of the most important things for your success is how are you positioned on the bike, the relationship with you and the bicycle. You could see this angle on which the cyclist, in this case me, I have positioned myself to ensure my power is optimized. And how do you take all that power to cut through air? And that's what you see in aerodynamics. You also need access to data, your heart rate, you got to check what's happening, the distance, the elevation, etc. Of course, speed as well. You got to have a sight. In this case, this was raining. You can't see it in this picture. And it's cold. And you got to know what's happening in front of you. It's part of your safety. And also have a vision of how this race is going to unfold from here. And then, of course, finally, your mind. While there are a lot of things on the visual here as success factors, I would probably prioritize the top point of your mind to win, your mind to compete, your mind to give it all as your number one critical success factors. Number two, I would say you got to have the right bike fit, which means your position on the bike ride. Number three could be any one of these things. And I would probably say it's how you bring your energy and hydration to fuel your body in a tough race like this. So, just like those three critical success factors in the sport of cycling, in your CIM success, there are three critical success factors that you will now have to grapple with. A, your knowledge. Let's call that theory. B, how well do you apply that knowledge to the company, to the context, the economic context, the COVID context, the competitor context in the market, and of course the team that you've selected for this assignment. By now, all of you know the value and the importance of theme. And thirdly, the evaluation of it. How well do you handle different aspects, different data, different evidence? And how do you handle this point called the command word, which we will talk about as we go? So the theory, the models, through the authors, through certain consultancy companies, applying it to your context, your company, and evaluating it from multiple aspects, making recommendations based on the data and insight. This is the three components, the three cornerstones of your critical success factors that you need to apply across your assignments. Now, we've discussed theme a lot, and I'm not going to take a lot of time. This you can find in the Dafedil Google Classroom, and how this theme planner could be used to figure out exactly your theme for your assignment. And that's a crucial part of your application. But I want to take you through the evaluation part of it, which is this thing called command words. Now you're going to find the command word document in the Google Classroom at Dafedil. You got to go through it because this is crucial. One of the best ways to understand commands is in military. You've heard attention, at ease. These are clear commands that the military learns to practice because at war, you got to be very clearly following the commands of your leader. If you don't, it's a matter of life or death. Just like that in business, you also have to follow the right commands. And let me give you an example what that really means. So, if you take your level 4 and look at the command words, you're going to find a list of command words, and I've just taken two as an example. Now, when you say analyze, it's not just English, it means something, and it's defined for you. Because it's very different from appraise or recommend. If you take a minute, what does analyze really mean at a level 4, stage 1? Identify components of a broad range of models, in other words, theoretical frameworks, let's say your marketing mix. And the relationship with these components, different relationships are there between product and price, place and promotion, and draw out and relate implications. So it takes time to you to read this through and understand what this really means. And it's very different to what appraise means. Now at the same time, if you look at your level 6, your stage 2, you will still be given a command saying analyze your company's digital marketing tools. And what does that really mean? As you could see, it's a lot more expanded and a lot more strategic. And that's very different to what your level 4 required. In the same way, it's when you're told to analyze it level 7, well, the requirement is different. So you are required to understand the rules of the game with regard to command words. Once again, Google Classroom, go through your guidance documents and you will find the full list of command words. Totally recommend to take a printout of it and have it in your study area. Now, once again, what command word means, it's an area that you need to look at under evaluation. So, the three critical success factors is your knowledge usage, how you apply that knowledge into your company, and how do you evaluate it. So if these three are not linked, the point you're making is not going to be valid. Now, let's come to the business world. If you look at an organization, you might be in one of these levels in a company. You might be at an operational level, which means you are at a frontline level in a company, at a junior level. And it's a great place to learn. Or you are at a tactical level, you are leading a team, you are in the management team. or you could be at the strategic level as a CEO, CFO, CMO, CIO, etc. Or you might be part of the board. So from a marketing point of view, you might be a marketing executive, digital marketing executive, you might be a product manager, a brand manager, or a category manager, or at the highest level, you might be the CEO, CMO, or you might be the founder, entrepreneur of a company. So what you're going to see at different levels, this critical success factor weightages are different. Because just like in business, at the CEO level, you have to be really evaluative. We are not really bothered about your theory knowledge or your practical, your concept knowledge. So very important to understand that. So let me show you how the metrics works. So you're going to see now postgraduate diploma and certificate level. We also call it stage 1, 2, and 3. And as you know, at a postgrad, it's equivalent to MBA, in fact, beyond any MBA. And at a diploma level, you are at a degree equivalent. I guess today you can't afford to be spending 4 years to figure out anything. So CIM gives you a better option to get a degree level diploma, which is going to make you a lot more sharper. So what you're going to see here in these metrics is how knowledge, application, and evaluation requirements differ from stage to another stage. Take a minute to digest this. So if you look at your certificate level, you could see your knowledge is tested up to 40%. So we want to know that you know the theories, you know the models, you know the principles. And we obviously want you to apply it, and you need to have evaluative capabilities. Whereas when it comes to your higher levels, the game's different. Your knowledge requirements, we're fine because we know you know the models, the frameworks. But we want to see you being more evaluative. So higher weightage for evaluation. Higher weightage for evaluation. Whereas if you look at level 4, higher weightage for knowledge. But what you're going to also see is across your CIM journey, there is an equal weight for application. This is what differentiates an academic degree to a professional qualification that you're doing, like in the case of CIM. So very important to understand where the weightage is and how to apply that concept of knowledge, application, and evaluation into the work you do. So blindly writing it, putting all the work and time and effort, more I write, the better type of thinking just isn't valid for a world-class qualification that you have enrolled for. So let me give you a practical example from assignment point of view. Now this is a level 7 assignment from a CDC question. You can take a minute to digest it. So if you look at the knowledge, you will find in every question there is a knowledge being tested. So in this case, the knowledge on reputation, identity, and image is tested. Obviously, you have to have access to the right books, the right reading material, which you will find in the Dafedil Google Classroom without any issue. Then you will be given a command. In this case, you are required to critically evaluate. So obviously, you have to go to the command Word document and truly understand what that really means. Just writing is not going to help you. And then you are asked to apply it to the chosen organization. Obviously, it's understood. You have to make it contextual and also apply to your team. Let's go to a level 6 example. This is from Innovation in Marketing assignment. Once again, you are asked to apply your knowledge on innovative approaches. There are different models of innovation. This learning will come here, and you have to reference the right authors, the right books when you do this. And the command word is assess. Once again, you will go and check what that really means and how to execute that command. And the application again is to your chosen organization, which means you have to apply that knowledge to your company. And your company might be a small company, a large company, a medium company, a bit of a digital laggard, or your company might be a digitally optimized company. Your company might be in the pharmaceutical industry, which is very different to a supermarket industry. So all of that really comes into life here. All the research, the reading, the annual reports, all of that matters. Level 4 example. This is from your planning campaigns assignment. And once again, as you could see, your knowledge is on campaign planning. So you will read about campaign planning, maybe from Pelsmaker, and you are going to apply that. And the command read is, earlier was assess, this time is describe. And if you don't understand and assess, you will fall in trouble. So once again, you got to refer the command word document. And then you have to apply it to your chosen organization. More theory, creative brief, you got to refer creative brief theory, you got to refer how agencies work, and that's a fair bit of knowledge to be applied. After all, this is stage 1 or level 4. Remember, 40% of your weightage is on knowing the tools, the theories. So this shows you how in reality this concept of critical success factors in the form of knowledge, application and evaluation applies to your assessment. So in summary, your critical success factors, which you will find in every single assignment, is threefold. You got to bring the right mix of knowledge, which means theory, application, applying to your company, the context in which your company operates, and with a clear appreciation to the theme that you've selected. And you are required to be evaluative, which means follow the command words, bring your research, the data, and make the right analysis and the correct recommendations. So this concludes our guide on critical success factors. You can go to Dafedil website. Dafedil YouTube has a lot of video content for you to get similar guidance to help you to be successful in your CIM assessment journey.